Algebra Test 4. Number 1, write C increased by 5 as an algebraic expression. So this as an algebraic expression would be C increased means to add, and then by 5. So C plus 5. Number 2, we have to evaluate. So they gave us an expression, and they also told us what x and y equal. So we just need to go and plug those into our expression. So we start off with negative x, so that's going to be negative 3 minus y, so that's minus 2, minus x plus y, so we plug in 3 plus 2. And now I'm just going to go left to right, simplifying inside each parenthesis. So over on the left, since we have that subtraction sign, we can add a line, change the sign. So we see that we have a negative 3 plus a negative 2, which is a negative 5, minus, and in this parenthesis, we have just 3 plus 2, which is 5. Again, I have a subtraction sign, so I'm going to go and add a line, change the sign. And I can see that it's a negative 5 plus a negative 5, which combines to give me a negative 10. And that's your final answer. Number 3 is the same thing. We're going to plug in our values for A, B, and C. So we'll start with negative 2 times B, which is 2. Plus, and then we have all three, A, B, C, being multiplied together. So negative 2 times negative 3. So let's start with our left parentheses. Negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Plus, and over here, we have negative 2 times 2 is negative 4 times a negative 3 will give us a positive 12. So we're going to put plus 12. So I have one negative, one positive number, so I find the difference between the two and keep the sign of the larger so it stays a positive 8. Number 4, graph the ordered pair negative 2, negative 2 on the coordinate plane. So remember, this is our x value, and this is our y. So that means I need to go back 2 on the x and down 2 on the y. So if I go back 2 and then down 2, I should end up right here, a negative 2, negative 2. So that's my spot. Okay, this one they want us to simplify. I'm going to rewrite this a little bit bigger. So we have negative 3x minus negative 2x plus 4x. I already see a subtraction sign right here. So I'm going to go and add a line, change the sign. And now I'm just going to work from left to right. So negative 3x plus positive 2x is a negative x plus 4x. So again, I have one negative, one positive, so I find the difference and keep the sign of the larger. So 3x is what you get when you simplify. Number 6, I have to simplify again. First thing I'm going to go in and do is change the subtraction signs by adding a line, changing the sign. And those are the only two. So now let's go and combine our like terms. So here's a 2x squared and a negative 4x squared. So when I combine those, I get a negative 2x squared. And then I also have a negative 3y squared and a positive 6y squared. When I combine those, I get a positive 3y squared. And that is the final answer. Okay, this one again, I'm going to write it a little bit bigger. we have negative 3 in parentheses x minus 3. So again, they just want us to simplify this. We can't simplify in the parentheses because they're not like terms. So we have to distribute our negative 3 over. So negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And then we have minus negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. However, when we have two negatives next to each other like that, always make sure just to rewrite that and fully simplify it and just make that plus. So negative 3x plus 9. Next one, number 8, is negative 3 times negative 8. So just remember, anytime you multiply two negatives together, your answer is always going to be positive. So a positive 24. All right, our next one, we are just adding positive and negative decimal numbers. I only see one subtraction sign in here, so I'm going to go and change this to add a line, change this sign. So that's a negative 4.71. And then I'm just going to go in order from left to right. So let's start with negative 2.86 plus negative 3.24. They're both negative, so I'm going to add them together to get 6.10, and they stay negative. And then I'm just going to rewrite everything that I already have here. Sorry about the basketball update there. And again, I'm going to go left to right, so I'm going to take these two numbers, negative 6.10 plus negative 4.71. Again, they're both negative, same sign, so I add them together, and they stay negative, plus 6.62. Now, these two are different signs, so I have to find the difference between these two, which is 4.19. And I keep the sign of the larger number, so it's a negative 4.19. Number 10 is just simplifying order of operations. So remember, we always start with our innermost parentheses. So we're going to do this 5 plus 3, which is 8 squared. I'm just rewriting everything so I make sure I don't miss a step. Okay, and then exponents comes next. So this is 64 minus 6. Again, rewrite everything. And now again, we stick within our parentheses. So 64 minus 6 is going to give us 58. And then following order of operations, we need to multiply next. So 2 times 58 is 116. Plus 3, which will give us 119. Number 11, a falcon flies at a speed of 114,400 yards per hour. How fast does the falcon fly in miles per hour? So notice we are going from yards to miles, so we have a unit multiplier. So again, always start with what they give you. They gave us 114,400 yards per 1 hour. And we want yards to cancel out and go to miles. So I need to make sure on my unit multiplier I have yards on the bottom so that these will cancel and miles on top. And this time they gave us what the unit multiplier is. They're saying 1 mile is 1,760 yards. So we just multiply across. So 114,400 times 1 is 114,400 miles. All over 1760. Remember, our yards canceled out. So when we just do the division now, it comes out to 65. And make sure you look what unit they want the answer in, and it's miles per hour. Number 12, tell whether x equals 4 is a solution for the equation x plus 4 equals 9. So for this one, all you need to do is plug in 4 for x and see if it works with this equation and makes it true. So if I plug in 4 for x, and then I also have plus 4 equals 9, well, that's not a true statement. 4 plus 4 does not equal 9. So no, this is not a solution. So you could just say not a solution. Okay, next one we have y minus 3 equals 10. So this is just a one-step equation where we're trying to get our variable by itself. So we have y minus 3. We want to get rid of that minus 3, so we do the opposite, which is add 3. Because negative 3 plus 3, those will cancel. But to keep our equation balanced, we have to do it to the other side. So we get y equals 13. And if you were to go plug that in to your original problem, so plug 13 in for y, you can just double check that, yep, that worked. So 13 is your answer. Y does equal 13. Number 14, determine whether the set of whole numbers is closed under subtraction. If the statement is false, give a counterexample. So remember, whole numbers start with 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So closed under subtraction means if I subtract any two whole numbers, will my answer always be a whole number? So the answer is false, because I can, and we have to give a counterexample. So a counterexample would be something like 5 minus 8. If you did that, you would get negative 3, and this is not a whole number. So not a whole number. So therefore, you can subtract two whole numbers and get a number that's not a whole number. So we would say, no, it is not closed under subtraction. Find the sum, negative 6 plus negative 5. So I have two negatives being added together. So when the signs are the same, we find the sum and we keep the sign. So it's negative 11. 16, compare the expressions below. So let's start with our left expression. The square root of 16 is 4, plus the square root of 49 is 7. So that gives us a total of 11. Over on the right side, the square root of 25 is 5, plus the square root of 36 is 6. Those added together also give us 11, so these two are equal. Number 17. There are 1 blue, 9 red, and 2 yellow marbles in a bag. What is the probability of randomly choosing a red marble? So first we have to figure out how many marbles there are total. So there's 12 marbles total, so that's our denominator. And then the numerator is how many red marbles there are. There are 9. So always make sure, though, you check to make sure that your ratio can be reduced, or your probability can be reduced, which this one can. We can divide both by 3 to get 3/4. Number 18, use words to write the algebraic expression m minus 9 in two different ways. So one simple way you could do is 9 subtracted from m. So 9 subtracted from m. I'm going to give you more than two ways just to give you some other options. You could also do m take away 9. Or the difference of 9 and m. So the difference of 9 and m. And another one, we could do 9 less than Number 18, use words to write the algebraic expression m minus 9 in two different ways. So I'm going to give you 4 ways just so you have a few options. One is m, this is m take away 9. You could also do 9 subtracted from n, or the difference of 9 and m. And the final one you could do is 9 less than m. So there's 4 options. You only need 2. So now you have some choices. 19. If a softball player has 8 hits and 25 at-bats, what is the probability she will get a hit in the next at-bat? So she has 8 out of 25, so we're basically just figuring out the probability. Now, if I were to do this and actually figure out 8 divided by 25, let's move up our decimal point, so that's 375. 25 goes into 52 times. And then that's 0. However, notice that it says express your answer as a decimal to the thousands place. So right now I only have my answer to the hundreds place, but I know the next one will just be 0, but I want to make sure I include that in there so that I show what my thousands place is. So even though it's a 0, I still have that thousands place in there. And number 20, complete the table for the equation. Y equals 2x plus 4. So for each of these x values, I just need to go plug in what they're giving me for x and determine what y will be. So let's start with our first one. I'm going to plug in -2 for x. So 2, -2 plus 4. So that's -2 plus 4. Oops. Erase that. That's -4 plus 4, which is 0. So that's 0. Our next one, we have y equals 2 times 0 plus 4. So that's 0 plus 4, which is 4. And then third, y equals 2 times 2 plus 4. So that's 4 plus 4, which is 8. And lastly, we have y equals 2 times 1/2 plus 4. So this is going to be 1 plus 4 and 5. So there you go, problems 1 through 20, test 4 of algebra.